We're going to talk about becoming an author, the becoming of an author. And for this particular topic, we of course have an author with us, and this is not someone who is new. He's been here severally, and he's just published another book and has his own publication company. That's why we thought of having him to talk up to us about his journey. He goes by the name MD Njiru, and this is a very interesting book that he has there. So yeah, now that you're already put on screen, I just allow you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. Yeah, my name is MD Njiru, the artist. I'm a stand-up comedian, and I'm an author, and also I'm a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a stand-up comedian, author, and publisher. So those are three things under your name, and they all fall under artistry, you know, being an artist. So how is that going for you, for someone who has not heard your story before? You know, how easy or hard has that been for you?
So it has been a journey. I started out writing. So my first book I self-published. Also I self-published my second book. So in the process of self-publishing the second book, I was like, I can now become a publisher. So the third book I published under my own publication, Maktaba Digitari.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's really something. So we want to know what's this journey like. But before even we get to the story of your journey, I'll just show your book. This is the second one, right?
Yeah, that's the second book.
So we have the second book that he wrote. It's called Prepsh, the antidote to resignation, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. So this is a book you wrote on mental health, something on mental health. And, you know, so I'll just read the synopsis. So resignation, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts can take one into a really dark place. That's being acknowledged is a good starting place. However, this book is not about the dark places RADs can take one to. It's about exercising the demon called RADs through day-to-day routines wrapped up in 5 stages. Were it not for the hand of God, the author would have drowned in the endless pit of darkness. If you're in a dark place, the author is asking to hold your hand through the pages so that tomorrow can be the light for you can be the light for someone else. And it goes on. So this is a book that you wrote out of also your experience, you know, going through depression, you know, the suicidal thoughts and everything, and you recovered from it. So you wanted people to actually just go through the book and to get insights and help from it. All right. And then now you have the first one you published is?
It's called a Kachumbari. It was meant to rally the Kenyan spirit during the election period.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more on a patriotic kind of book.
Yeah, it's more of bringing the people of Kenya together. Yeah.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. That one I don't have a hard copy for it. I published it just on Amazon.
Oh, it's just on Amazon.
Yeah.
But this one's people can get it through you.
Yeah, they can get hard copies.
All right. And now this one. So maybe you tell us about this book, Feeding from the Cemetery. It's so spooky. And when you see the cover, it's spookier. I don't know if you can see it. You look, you know, it's literally the cemetery and someone.
That's me on the cover.
That is that you, like?
That's me.
Like a picture of it.
Yeah, in fact, I went to Rangata Cemetery.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Took the photo, even on the backside. That's me seated on one of the cemetery eating an apple.
My goodness. So, and what he's actually holding an apple here. So this is him. I didn't think it was you. My goodness, this is creative. So you had an apple. It has a bite. The apple has a bite, and then this is the cemetery. It looks spooky. And then at the back side of the book, now you see him seated on one of the graves. Woof. And he's actually eating fruit there. Yes, there are bananas, apples, avocado, How in the world did you even try this? How? Wow.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration? Tell us about this.
So when I wrote that book, the first book, Akachumbari, it was a collection of slogans, quotes from people from all walks of life in Kenya. So under that book, there is a segment where I was like, if I'm collecting slogans and quotes from people in Kenya, what about those people who are dead but they're in the Kenyan soil? So I went to Langata Cemetery and picked the epitaphs. So I thought it would be a segment.
So tell people what epitaphs actually are, for those that don't know.
Epitaphs are the messages written on the tombstone.
Tombstones, yes.
Yeah. So some are biblical, some are not biblical. Some are scripture-based, others are just non-scripture-based. Yeah. So I picked several. Then later on I was like, what if I turn this now into a full book? Yeah, so that's how that book
you ended up with.
Yeah.
Wow, a collection, because Feeding from the Cemetery, a collection of epitaphs. So the content of this is it a collection of a collection of epitaphs, what people were written for once they were dead, and then now what about them?
So I basically collected the messages, but you know, in the process of writing the book, a book also changes you in the process. So I was like, okay, I've collected what other people have written. What about me? When my time comes and I die, do I want a copy-pasted epitaph, a generic epitaph? Or should I come up with one because I'm an artist? So the book like transformed me and I came up with my own epitaph. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
How long did you... I'm very curious. This is something. So how long did it take you to collect these epitaphs first? And now, what was the process like?
I went there for almost a week. In fact, I used to carry lunch.
No.
Yeah, so I used to carry lunch.
How in the world?
Go there in the morning with a full scarf. The first time I went with a full scarf because I just wanted a few. But when I decided now I can turn it into a book, I bought an A4 book, and I used to go there in the morning with a packed lunch. I write the epitaphs. I take breaks. I just rest there around. Then in the evening I come. Then I would transfer that from now handwritten to now type it into my computer. Yeah, so that was the process.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, what was going through your mind when you're collecting this. First, just going to the cemetery, you weren't fearful or anything. Even now, there's the photo. I don't know if you can get the photos on screen so that our viewers can see it. Of the cover page there, you have it. Yes. So yeah, that's the front page of the book, and that's the cover. So you see him at Langata Cemetery. But I think this is a real creative idea. And the back page, him sitting there, eating fruit. So what was going through your mind when you were collecting this, when you were writing this? What was going through your mind?
So initially, before I took that decision, I was fearful. There are those stories about if you visit the graveyard in the evening, when you go to sleep, you'll be haunted and all that. So I was fearful, but I'm a very prayerful person. So I was like, God, if this is what you want me to do, give me a sign. And he gave me a sign, and I was like, we are in this with you. So I used to go pick the epitaphs, come back, sleep like a baby. In fact, one of the peaceful places in the cemetery.
How is it peaceful?
So peaceful.
How?
And you just feel at peace.
Really?
It feels at peace.
Okay.
Then those people talk to you, like the messages. Yeah.
Or the messages that are written, the epitaphs that are written on the tombstones. Okay. So let me.
In fact, when I started out, and this I realized that is a sign from heaven, the first grave that I went to, it was written, "Today you came visiting, and I hope you are at peace with yourself. I hope when your time comes to come over to the other side, you'll have accomplished all what that you want to accomplish in your life."
That was written on a tombstone.
Yeah.
That was written.
Yeah, it was written. It's in the book.
Really?
Somewhere in the book, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that was written for people who are actually coming to visit,
No,
right?
at one of the graves.
No, but the message itself,
Yeah.
I'm thinking it feels more like, you know, it's for people who are actually coming there to bring flowers, you know,
Yeah.
to just when they're reading it to
Yeah.
know that, you know, I hope you've accomplished, you know,
Yeah.
just reflect on your life now that you're still alive, right?
Sure.
That kind of thing. That's very interesting
Yeah.
to have you, but I've never thought. Personally, I don't think it's peaceful, or maybe it's the movies that I've watched. I might not agree with you on that, but I just want to sample a few of the epitaphs that are there. Okay, so from this, even as I look for one that I want to sample, what is your main goal when someone goes through, reads this book? You know, with the mental health book, perhaps you want someone to come out feeling, you know, free, loved, you know, not suicidal anymore. That's perhaps that is coming onto your screen, the book itself. So I don't know, if almost the preps book. So when someone reads through this book, they want to feel that they're free from depression, that someone actually understands them, that someone has walked that journey, and this helps in their, you know, in their walk with mental health. So with this one, what do you aim to achieve with Feeding from the Cemetery, a collection of epitaphs?
So the number one thing is that I want people to know that death is imminent. Yeah. We are here 1 minute, and the next minute we are gone. That's a line from one of the songs. So if we have that at the back of our mind, we can put our lives in order. The other thing that I want to achieve with this book, when I was walking around, I realized that some of the epitaphs are copy-pasted. You find like an epitaph like from the scripture of 2 Timothy chapter 7 verse 1 or something. It's repeated over and over again. So it's like, I think someone can sit down and come up with their own epitaph.
Okay.
They don't have like to wait until they die, then people come and with a copy-pasted generic epitaph, which maybe doesn't represent the life that they led.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you came up with your own epitaph.
Yeah.
And it's here. Let me read it. Can I read it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So let's personalize our epitaphs. And this is Njiru's epitaph. So his life, just like his art, would sometimes bomb. And at other times, it would be a blast. All in all, it was a bomb blast. Okay. Aside, in comedy, when a performer does badly, they have bombed. And if they did well, we can say the performance was a blast. What would you like to be written as your epitaph? All right, so this describes who you are, because you have a lot of, you know, comedy, because we can see the humor in what you've written for your epitaph. So you would want this years to come, you know, this to be written on your tombstone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. This is quite something. Wow. There's this one that I might want to read. Final destination requests. Is that an epitaph?
No, now that's my request when my time comes.
Wow. Can I read it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So when my time comes to be laid to rest next to my dad, I would love my coffin to be carried by 6 pallbearers. 1 to represent family, the 2nd to represent friends, the 3rd one to represent authors, the 4th to represent stand-up comedians, the 5th to represent speakers, and the 6th to represent martial arts practitioners. Okay, I would love to be buried in black jeans and a white t-shirt printed, "Father, forgive me for I've sinned against you and your people." During the burial, while the coffin is being lowered, a few of my jokes should be played, after which the song 21 Gun Salute by Chandizi should be played. The clergy should take it over from there. Lest I forget, there should be no need for a written eulogy. After all, everyone present should grab a copy of my autobiography. Wow. So you have a very interesting way of view of life, you know. So why did you decide on this, you know, how you want your last day to be like?
Because it's something imminent. It's something that must come. Yeah, I pray that it comes 70 years from today.
Yeah.
But eventually it will come. So why not be prepared for it? Yeah, so I'm trying to...
So you think 70 years from now, you still want to be buried in black jeans for some reason and white t-shirt?
Yeah.
Why? That's your swag. That's your...
Yeah, I feel like that even 70 years from now, it will represent who I am.
All right.
Yeah.
This is quite.
And also 70 years from now, I know I'll still have sinned against God and people. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's hence, Father, forgive me for I've sinned against you and your people.
Yeah.
I don't know if people think about their death. It can be scary, you know, to think that you know, to plan on something like this. Some people would say that why are you calling death? Like, it might seem like you're calling for death. But what's your perception on this?
So, death is not, the topic about death should not be a taboo. It should be something that we should talk about. It should be something that we should destigmatize, so that you can be prepared for it. That's why you find that most people, when they die, and they leave their families in chaos because they have not even written their will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll find even someone is in their 70s, in their 80s, but they have not prepared their will.
Okay, true, that's true. All right, so quite interesting. So now we've talked about the book. We'll take a short break, and now we'll come to address the topic itself. We went into the history, so we want to know how is it to become an author? What's the journey like? What do you need to do? And to even have a publication house, why is that important? And, you know, maybe listen to one or two of your stand-up comedy so that people see the other side of you. So let's take this short break and then we'll be right back.
Y254. Imagine.
Last year, I published a book on mental health, on how to deal with depression and anxiety. No one, not a single person, bought the book. I became anxious. I got depressed. Then I was like, well, let me read my own book. Upon reading that book, I became more anxious and depressed. People say that you can't. So before I start, I'd like to set the record straight that my English accent is bipolar. It can swing from pronouncing Edith to Edith, from 12 to 12, and from Auther to Auther. So, as a self-published author, let me tell you let me tell you guys.
All right, that was the stand-up comedy. I hope you've loved his humor, and he had something to say on for why in the morning. By the way, able to ambie. Give us that one.
So, I don't know why I'm not a morning person, but I'm in why in the morning.
Look at that. I don't know if you got that. If you got that joke, you got it right. He's not a morning person, but he's and why in the morning, you know. Well, interesting. So this is what you also do. You just stand-up comedy, and stand-up comedy can be something. It'll be as hard as it can get, but it's something that you love, right?
Yeah, I do.
Tell us about it, Kidogo, before we get back to the books.
So, initially when I was writing the books, sometimes I would find a funny angle to something that I wanted to pass across. So I thought that by each page of the book, there would be a joke. Then I was like, that would be a lot of work. So I decided, like, why not package the jokes differently, and now do stand-up comedy. Yeah.
So you also do that part, you know, that's part of your career. You're author, stand-up comedian, and what?
And I'm now a publisher. Yeah.
Publisher, yeah. Wonderful. Okay, so now for someone who wants to get into being an author, becoming an author, what would you say? What's the journey? What's the secret?
So everyone can write, or most of the people can write, if you put your mind into it. We used to write compositions back at school, so majority of the people can write. The second step is reading. You have like to really read a lot. I remember there was a time I was reading an average of a book a day, 3 books in a week. So I used to read a lot. Then I remember questioning myself, and I was like, all this reading, where is it heading to? Like, I'm just reading and not making anything out of it. But looking back, I'm grateful for those days that I spent reading. Nowadays, I don't read as much because of other engagements, but during my free time, I usually read a lot.
Okay.
So for you to write, you have to read, and you have to really read a lot.
So that's a requirement, because you need. Is it because you need to know how the? What's the reason for this? Let me just ask that.
The reason for?
Why you need to read a lot?
Like, you can't give what you don't have. So you just, like, reading is the way of, like, feeding the mind. So you just first need to feed the mind for you now to have an output, which is now a book.
So it's more on the feeding your mind first before you give out something. You have to make sure that you have, you have content in you. And I believe even in reading, you see the different styles, how you can write and everything. So anyone can become an author. At least most people can write, right? All right. And now to publishing, because people write, but no, maybe getting the book published is where the problem comes in. So how would you advise?
So the process of publishing is a challenging one. I'll not try, but if you put your mind into it, you can do it. There are categories of authors like me who are self-published. Like, you do all the work. Like, after you write, you ensure that the book is edited, you ensure that the book is formatted, things like cover design. Like, this cover design, I didn't do the actual cover design, but I had the concept.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's someone who write a book and give it to a publishing house, and they will come up with the cover design and all that.
All right.
Also, things like the ISBN number. If you're a self-published author, you register your own. But if you're under a publishing house, they'll do the work for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between being a self-published author and getting it published. Which one is easier or faster?
So I think I will replay that in form of a joke. There's a joke that I do that self-publishing is like trimming your personal garden. No one knows about it unless you show them or you tell them. That joke is a bit deeper.
It's deep. It needs intellectual. I'm still trying to get it. All right. So you said self-publishing is like trimming your own?
It's like trimming your personal garden.
Your personal garden?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So?
Yeah. No one knows the garden has been trimmed.
Apart from you?
Unless you tell them, you know, my garden is trimmed, or you show them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the same as being a self-published author.
Like you can, if you're self-published, you can have a book and people not know about it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the garden here is not the garden.
Okay. All right. All right. I think I get it. And now, now having it published in a publication house, now it's the opposite, because now people will know, especially if it's a publication that's well known, right?
Yeah, they'll even push for you and all that.
So there's more work in self-publishing, but sometimes that's the way people prefer, because I hear, you know, in some publication there's a lot of rules and filters that maybe you need to conform to their style, and if you don't want, then you can't publish with them. Is that the case also?
Yeah, yeah, that's the case.
Okay, so tell us about you coming up with your publication house, even as we come to a close on this.
So after self-publishing 3 of my books, I was like, yeah, and now I can now do this. Yeah, so I can do the whole process.
Okay, and what's the process of coming up with your own publication?
So you need to have a group of editors or someone who can edit the work. You also need someone who can format and typeset the work. You need someone who can do the graphics for the cover design.
Okay.
Also, you need marketers who can promote the books. So basically, that is it.
All right.
Yeah.
So now people can actually get Maktaba digitally to publish their books.
Yeah.
All right. So tell them about it, even as you tell them where they can find your books, where if people want to purchase it, how people can reach you, and whatever say you want to have. If you want to greet anyone, this is your camera.
Yeah. So thank you. So if you want to work with Maktaba digitally, you can reach me on WhatsApp. The number is 0732 274 116. 0732 274 116. So we'll ensure that your manuscript turns into a book. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what about any closing remarks for an author, someone who wants to become an author? What they need to do, what skill they need to have, and finally say hi to your people.
Yeah, so the thing about becoming an author is that, one, you need to set your mind into it, you need to read a lot, and also, as Steve King said, writing is rewriting. So you'll have to write, rewrite, and rewrite. So you'll find that by the time your book is ready to be published, maybe that draft is the 7th draft or the 10th draft. So most people give up along the way. And I can challenge people that, you know, back then when you were writing compositions in school, you used to write the first draft and submit. Most people, I'm sure they used to get maybe half of the percentage, yet it was the first draft. What if now you give yourself a chance to rewrite and rewrite? You can come up with something better.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For coming on board.
Oh, let me say hi. So, I know my mom is watching.
Okay.
So, mom, nakumbuka in 2020 nilikwambia nitatokea kwa TV. Asante kwa maombi, nizidishe maombi.
Ish. The dream come true.
Yeah, dreams come
Mom
true.
must be proud. Look at that. Okay, so thank you very much,
Welcome.
David, MD Njiru, as you go. Thank you for coming on board and sharing some amazing insights. And I hope you have been motivated as an author, or challenged on matters creativity. You can go as crazy as you want. You can, different things. So you can choose your path. So we've been talking about the making of an author by MD Njiru. Wonderful conversation. Now we're going to take a short break, and then Kalami Val is coming on next with a very interesting topic that you want to miss. So stick with us.